Football is the ultimate team sport. And even in this broadcasting role, Chris, that's what I look for all the time. When a quarterback throws a touchdown pass, I actually watch to see who he goes and celebrates with. Because what did I do? I looked for my offensive lineman every time. I went down and celebrated in the end zone with my teammates every time.
For years, Tom Brady has been the gold standard of NFL quarterback play. He's widely respected for his championships, his leadership, and his longevity in the game. But recently, Brady found himself at the center of controversy after comments he made that many believe were directed squarely at Shedeur Sanders and other young black quarterbacks. While Brady never mentioned Shedeur by name, the context, timing, and phrasing have people connecting the dots. Let's unpack what Brady actually said, why it hit such a nerve, and why this situation is about more than just one quarterback. It's about coded language, generational culture, and the future of black quarterbacks in the NFL. During a recent broadcast segment, Tom Brady explained the qualities he values most in quarterbacks. For him, football is the ultimate team sport, and that means quarterbacks should always prioritize teammates over self-promotion. Brady said that when he threw touchdowns, the first thing he did was celebrate with his offensive linemen. He would even tell his linemen ahead of time, "We're all running into the end zone together, and we're celebrating as a team." He contrasted that with quarterbacks who do flashy personal celebrations, finger guns, pointing to the crowd, or showing off, calling those behaviors self-promotional and not about winning. To Brady, a true leader celebrates as a group, not as an individual star. On the surface, this sounds like Brady just emphasizing teamwork. But when you listen closely and connect it with other recent developments,
shout out to the supporters and the content creators who released this, man. Let's go.
Then a quarterback doing his six-shooter guns and pointing up in the crowd and doing all that other bullshit that's very self-promotional, but it's not about winning. And I think winning in football is about a team, always a team attitude first.
Especially Shedeur Sanders' NFL draft fall, it starts to look like something deeper. Brady didn't use Shedeur's name, but fans and analysts immediately felt that was who he meant. Why? Because Shedeur has become known for his trademark watch celebration, flexing his wrist to signal he's ready for prime time. It's a signature move that has become part of his brand. Critics, like Brady in this case, frame it as selfish or arrogant. But anyone who has actually watched Shedeur's games knows that he celebrates with teammates too. He shows love to his receivers, offensive line, and running backs. He's not ignoring the guys who protect him.
Is that a shot at Shedeur? Is that why the Raiders didn't take Shedeur?
Well, the Raiders had a few opportunities to draft him, did they not? Even after the first round? I don't know if it's a shot at Shedeur. I know one thing, Jason. It certainly wasn't an endorsement.
So why single out that celebration style? Why treat swagger as a threat to team-first leadership? That's the heart of the controversy. This gets even more complicated when you look at Brady's role as a minority owner of the Las Vegas Raiders. Officially, Brady downplayed his involvement in the team's draft decisions. He insisted he wasn't part of the quarterback evaluations that led to the Raiders passing on Shedeur. But reports suggest otherwise. Journalist Albert Breer reported that Brady did in fact sit in with Raiders coaches to review quarterback film.
As the slide seen round the world, round after round, all eyes were on Shedeur Sanders, whose name was never called until the fifth round of the NFL draft Saturday, when the Cleveland Browns made Sanders the second quarterback they'd draft over the week.
Insiders also claimed Brady was involved in shaping opinions about who the team should or shouldn't take. So, when Brady now makes public statements criticizing quarterbacks who don't celebrate the right way, it looks less like general commentary and more like an explanation for why Shedeur didn't get drafted by the Raiders. In short, Brady may be trying to rewrite the narrative, framing his issue not as personal, but as a matter of team culture. Here's where things get uncomfortable. Brady framed his criticism around celebrations and self-promotion. But celebrations have always been cultural expressions. Cam Newton dabbing after touchdowns wasn't just showboating, It was a cultural moment that connected with fans, especially kids. Newton even gave footballs to young fans as souvenirs, turning his celebrations into memories. Was Newton selfish? Absolutely not. He carried his team to a Super Bowl and inspired a generation. The problem is that certain celebrations, those associated with black quarterbacks, are often criticized as arrogant, while when white quarterbacks or non-black players celebrate, it's brushed off as harmless fun. Joe Burrow dances. Trevor Lawrence fist pumps. Nobody calls them selfish, but when Shedeur flexes a watch, suddenly it's framed as poor leadership. That's what many are calling coded language. On the surface, Brady is just talking about teamwork, but beneath that, he's drawing lines about which kinds of expressions are acceptable in the NFL. And those lines often fall along racial and cultural divides. Think about it. Patrick Mahomes celebrates almost every big play. He's been doing it since high school and throughout his Kansas City career. Has anyone questioned his leadership? No, because winning cures everything. Cam Newton's dab was criticized relentlessly, even though he celebrated with teammates and made his celebrations part of community outreach. Meanwhile, flashy personalities in other sports, Allen Iverson in the NBA, Joe Namath in the NFL's past, even Johnny Manziel in college, were all defined by swagger. Sports thrive on individuality. Fans love it. So why pretend that celebrations suddenly mean a player isn't team-oriented? It's not really about the action. It's about who's doing it and what cultural identity they bring to the field. The Raiders didn't help themselves either. They publicly claimed Brady would have influence on quarterback selections, then Brady himself denied it. Which is it? If Brady had no say, why is he going out of his way now to justify why Shedeur wasn't drafted? It feels like damage control. Brady wants to maintain the image of being impartial, but at the same time, he's sending clear signals about the kind of quarterback he prefers. And that message is loud. Fall in line. Don't be flashy. Don't show swagger. To many, that's not just advice. It's a coded way of saying black quarterbacks need to tone down their culture to succeed. This isn't just about Shedeur Sanders. It's about the next generation of black quarterbacks watching all of this unfold. If Tom Brady, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, implies that swagger and individuality are incompatible with leadership, it reinforces stereotypes that have been used to hold black QBs back for decades. For years, black quarterbacks were told they weren't smart enough to lead, weren't disciplined enough to succeed, or were better off changing positions. Now, even after breaking through those barriers, there's still this expectation. Don't be too confident. Don't show too much personality. Stay humble. Stay quiet. That's why these comments are dangerous. They give cover to critics who already want to downplay the legitimacy of black quarterbacks. It's not just about one player. It's about sending a message across the league. One thing is certain. The NFL will always protect its legends, especially someone like Brady. The Shield, as the NFL is often called, prioritizes its biggest stars and the narratives that keep the brand clean. If Brady frames his words carefully, the league and its media partners will defend him. But independent voices, from YouTubers to fans on social media, are calling it out for what it looks like. A double standard. Brady's words weren't neutral. They were loaded, whether intentionally or not. And when they come from someone with actual influence in draft decisions, they matter even more. At the end of the day, celebrations don't win or lose football games. Swagger doesn't prevent leadership. What matters is performance, accountability, and production. And Shedeur Sanders has shown plenty of that. The real issue isn't whether Brady is right or wrong about celebrating with teammates. The issue is why he felt the need to frame it as a critique at all, and why his critique just happened to echo long-standing stereotypes about black quarterbacks. So ask yourself, Was Tom Brady truly being honest about his reasoning? Or was he sending a coded shot at Shedeur Sanders and young black quarterbacks like him? Because if this is about more than football, if it's about culture and image, then this conversation is far from over. The next generation is watching, and how we frame these narratives will shape who gets to thrive in the league.